I'm not going to be projecting anything. So, all right, is everybody? Excuse me. Everybody on the calendar, right? Because you're only getting this from me one time, second time, third time. You can get it from the video that I'll put on your calendar. But what I want you to see right now is so we're going to talk about the European Union DBQ. We're going to do the hook discussion. Ms. Bragg is going to teach you how to pull text evidence. So those of you who are not in English, and it's been a while since you've done text evidence, she's going to help you, and we'll put that presentation on the calendar too. But on Friday, before you walk out of class, this packet, you're going to have annotated, right? You're going to mark it up with your text evidence and that kind of thing. And this packet is going to get turned in on paper. This paper that you got, you can like write yourself notes or whatever on here. But if you go to Friday's calendar right here where it says OL, it is the same document, except I'm going to need you to type it for me, and that piece you will turn in on Canvas. The two pieces together are your major grade. This should be an easy major grade to make up for any test grades that maybe weren't so high, okay? Although, actually, I'm so proud of you guys. You did so well on your last test. I was very happy to see your grades. All right, so if you guys want to go ahead and make a copy of this and put it in your folder, your Google Drive, please. Thank you. You can take notes on the handwritten piece of paper, but the typing or the outline, I want you to actually type that and turn it in on Canvas for me. That way I'm not trying to decipher all of your handwriting and my students' handwriting as well, right before the midterms. It's really small. It's the blue. Right. There you go. You're welcome. Okay. All right. Everybody has one of these, right? The DBQ packet. So a DBQ, when you move up in your grade levels, 10th grade's world history, 11th grade U.S. history, at some point you're going to have to write the full essay. DBQ stands for document-based question. Document-based question. So it's a lot like English class. Who's in English right now? A few of you. So you guys have pulled text evidence, right? So basically what you're going to be doing for me is you're going to make a claim about the European Union, and then you're going to use the documents and you're just going to pull text evidence, just like you would for English class, okay? So those of you that aren't in English, you're a step ahead of everybody before you get it next semester. That's always nice, right? All right, so our question that we're going to be looking at and thinking about is the European Union. Do the benefits of membership outweigh the cost? So before I go into the European Union, can anybody remind me what is the European Union? Do you remember the vocab word? Supranationalist organization, and it's where two or more countries join together, right, for a common purpose. The European Union has 28, I think, different countries in Europe that have all joined, and it's mostly for political and economic. It's not military. And by economic, that means, like, one of the biggest things they have is that people can cross the borders freely without their passport. So if I live in North Italy, I can cross the border and work in another country and then go back home at night. Because like in Texas, if you drive 4 hours, where are you at? Texas. In Europe, you drive 4 hours, and odds are you probably crossed 3 countries, right? It's really small. So the European Union, we're going to be thinking, so why don't you guys go ahead and highlight the question so you remember what we're looking for. Do the benefits of membership outweigh the cost? Or star it, underline it, something like that. Okay, so it says down here on the overview, at after the terrible bloodshed of World War II, many European countries looked for opportunities to form alliances that would prevent future wars and help increase wealth. By the 1990s, several countries in Europe molded these alliances into an organization called the EU, or the European Union. The EU was formed in large part to make sure that conflicts would be settled around the table instead of on the battlefield. But membership does not come without disadvantages. In this mini DBQ, you will decide whether the benefits of being an EU member are worth the cost. So turn over to this page where you got the check boxes, please. All right. So, we're going to pretend that we're creating the North American Union. Mexico, Canada, and the United States are considering joining together to form a North American Union. A committee has been formed to weigh the pros and cons of this proposal. You have been asked to serve on the committee as a delegate from the United States to decide whether the NAU is a good idea for the United States. The following 6 proposals for the NAU are up for discussion. Your task is to mark each proposal as an advantage, pro, or disadvantage to the United States. You're not taking into consideration Mexico or Canada. You're just looking at it from the viewpoint of the United States. So the first one, I will read them to you. You can talk about it a little bit at each table and come to a conclusion. So you'll mark whether it's a positive or negative, and then you'll write a little bit of reasoning out there as to why you think it's that way, okay? So the first one, a North American Constitution outlines laws that Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. all follow. So talk at your table, is that a good thing or a bad thing for the United States? And then write out your reasoning. There's no right answer. It's up to you. So talk at your tables.
I think it's a con. Because like there's different economical sectors for each America, Canada, and Mexico.
So you're saying because we're at different financial levels?
Yeah.
So that would not be good for us?
Yeah. Because like it would.
Yes or no, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a rate.
But it's a con.
Wait, are you talking about 2 or 1?
One. They've not moved to 2 yet.
So what do you think? Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Current US laws, but they're pretty extra ones that are added.
Why? So,
Huh?
okay, so you think Canada, United States, Mexico
What?
would do well under one new constitution in addition to?
No.
Okay, so then we would write the con, and you'd write out your reasons. You were saying different people have
We're at
different,
different financial levels.
or different laws they would.
Economic sectors. It's like we produce and sell different things.
Everybody has special issues.
Continue to do all of them?
Yeah, you can keep going past me.
Oh, okay.
Alright, the
That was not
second
a
one says Canada, the US, and Mexico will share a common currency, the Amero. Is that positive or negative, and why? I feel like your answer's just gonna run all the way down.
What do you think?
That means all 3 countries would have the same, instead of the dollar bill, they would all use the Amero.
I mean, I don't think
It's made up, it's not real.
I thought the Mexican was peso.
Yeah, it
It
is.
is.
We're pretending.
It's like the euro.
He made up this money currency, it's not real.
because like, no.
I mean, we all have different.
Yeah,
Like a
different-
peso is way less than a dollar.
Yeah, peso.
Change?
Yes,
We have
in our fictional world,
economies way
yes.
different.
And we would all have the Amero instead of the dollar bill, pesos, and Canada's currency, which off the top of my head, I can't remember, because I'm on the spot. I'm on the spot, I can't remember. All right, the next one says, residents of Canada, the US, and Mexico can work and live in all 3 countries without restriction.
No.
Meaning, I could live in Mexico, just cross the border without the passport, work in the US, and go back. Or I could live in the US, go to Canada, or down to Mexico, work, go back. Or I could just choose to live in one of the other 2 countries. Is that good for the United States or bad, and why?
There's a language barrier.
Overpopulation.
Yeah. It's these countries are way too big. Like
Yeah, but it's
Europe is tiny. Like it's way too big.
Wait, what's the concept of danger?
Yes.
This is fine the concept. We just like open the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's not.
Country is way.
Can you die? I have to cut down up. Nice one, Kennedy. That was not me.
Alright, number 4. Labels on consumer goods are printed in 3 languages. That means when you go to the grocery store, if you buy chicken, you buy a can of whatever, the labels have to have English, French, and Spanish.
Man, it kind of hard to do.
Like Canada's French.
Like all like the.
Part of Canada is French,
Yeah.
the rest is English. So you would, because French is one of the official languages of Canada, you would also have to include French.
I mean, it kind of already happens. Like most of like the Dove stuff is French, and like the Old Spice stuff is French.
Okay, you're right. Most directions already have those. So would it be a positive or a negative?
I mean, there's no bad thing coming out of it.
There's not.
I mean, not really. I mean, you still have your own language to read.
Oh, but I'm going to, well, no, never mind. It says consumer goods. I was going to say all the government documents would have to be changed
Oh, no.
and we'd have to reprint, but that's not what that question's asking. And he does have a point. You know, if you ever look at labels and read all the directions, they are in just about every language out there. Just about. Not all 7,000.
There's 7,000 names.
Yep. All right. No, I've dropped out of Spanish so many times you can't even. Yeah, like even as an adult, when I was a probation officer, I would take the specialized Spanish classes that were just for like that. I can't roll R's to
I
save
like
myself.
using gas-powered vehicles.
All right, number 5. Number 5, partner countries share the cost of supporting new immigrants and poor people. So that would mean people who are in poverty and immigrants, all 3 countries would share the cost.
No. It's your
So
own
would that
country.
be positive or negative for the United States, and why?
Why would it be bad?
It could be positive.
Could be positive. Sharing and all that, like the cost.
I mean, it's your own country. Like, just,
Well, I know where Lane's going on this one. Were you negative all the way down?
no, I was positive for the,
The
the
labels,
3.
you were positive?
Yeah.
And the last one, laws about air pollution apply to all 3 countries. So just as an example, the United States, when you drive a car here, you have to get it inspected every year for emissions to make sure we're not polluting the air too much. And that would apply to all 3 countries, whatever level they set.
It's not a bad thing. Yeah, I'm guessing.
It's stopping pollution.
Yes, because does pollution know political borders?
No.
Nah, that wind just carries it right over, the water just carries it right over.
Turtles still exist or no?
Do what?
Turtles.
What about turtles?
Are they extinct yet or no?
No.
No.
Are they
Is that question?
in, well, I mean, it depends on what kind you're talking about, but I think some are considered endangered.
Have you seen like Gatorade things?
Hey, I don't know why you guys are laughing.
What
My
kind of
generation
question
grew
is that?
up.
It's a smart
Miss,
question.
No, it's not.
No,
Miss
It's a dumb
Rose, do you
question.
still cut
That's a
all the
dumb
plastic
question.
off the 6 packs?
Anybody side?
Like
Because
soda
that
and
was a
stuff?
dumb
I never categorized in my grade. I might have not, but I haven't seen so.
I don't.
Okay, so my generation grew up seeing commercials about, you know, like when you buy the 12-pack or whatever Gatorade comes in, the plastic rings. Our generation grew up watching dolphins and turtles strangled to death on those. So like if you ask your grandparents, yes, I'm saying that because your parents are probably younger than me. We still cut those to make sure that turtles and dolphins don't get strangled by plastic in the ocean. So you guys are laughing, but there you go. That's what we do.
Turtles are not extinct, bro.
They're not, no, but there are some.
They're endangered. They're not even extinct yet, though. Like,
Turtles die every day.
And see, you even
Still.
said yet.
this is
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so let's go back. Who said that the North American Constitution outlining laws that Canada, Mexico, and U.S. all follow? Is it positive? Raise your hand. No? Negatives? Why did you say negative?
Wait, no, we said pro.
Oh, you said pro? Why did you say pro?
Because they all believe in the same things.
Like what things?
There you go.
You're not wrong. What things? Freedoms?
Like, yeah, belief system.
Oh, yeah, freedoms, right? Freedom of speech, freedom of religion. I think you guys are aware, but Mexico has the same type of government that the United States has.
Canada does the same.
Yep, they have a federal system just like we do. That separation of powers and states and country.
What does Canada have then?
They have the parliament thing.
Canada has, yeah.
The
All right,
prime
number 2, Canada. Voices off, please. Canada, the U.S. and Mexico share a common currency. Positive? Why negative? Everybody said negative?
Positive.
Because they're
Oh, you said positive? Why did you say positive?
So like, when you like exchange like dollars for like pesos, you get like more worth than the other one.
You get,
Or like less worth.
A
So-
peso is way less than $1, is what he's trying to say.
yeah, it's oddly enough, it's not as less as people think anymore.
Let's go with
It's still.
I don't think so. It's not as much.
So pesos on a dollar?
No, peso is way less.
I'd have to look it up again.
Each economy would go down because of that, because you would have to shift currencies.
Okay, so what Lane is saying is that the economy, because Mexico's economy is lower than the United States and Canada, that it has the potential to potentially drag our economy down, right? If we changed it out. Mexico would really benefit from it. Canada and the U.S., we would not, right? All right, number 3, residents of Canada, the U.S., and Mexico can work and live in all 3 countries without restriction. Positive? No positives? Lucas, why'd you say no?
It's like,
Yes, you do, come on. Give me something.
it's like drug flow in US and Canada would increase.
Okay, so you think that there's the possibility of the drug flow because nobody's being checked at the border might increase? Okay, that's a fair one. Hey, just so you guys know, we do get drugs in from Canada, right? You guys do realize that?
Yeah, like
Okay,
Montreal is
a lot of, well, I mean, through Mexico and Canada both. A lot of people tend to think it's just from our southern border.
Fentanyl is China.
Yeah, fentanyl is China and India through Mexico usually. All right, so did anybody else have another reason?
The countries are way too big. Like in Europe, it works because the countries are not very big, but in the U.S., Canada, and Mexico are way too big countries.
So our countries, voices off please. I'm trying to set you guys up for success on your last major grade before the exam, so you gotta work with me, okay? I like that, Dax. Are you Catholic? I'm just curious.
Oh no, I don't even know that because she said something dumb.
Wow, you guys really throw each under the bus so bad. So what Lane was saying is that, voices off, is that the countries are too big compared to Europe. It would be really hard to track that population, right, of who's living where and what they're doing. Labels on consumer goods in all 3 languages, positive? Everybody else has to participate too. Christian, did you write positive or negative? For the language. Number 4.
Yes, because people don't understand their own language.
Okay, so it makes it easier for the people. They could understand their languages regardless of what country they're in. Number 5, partner countries share the cost of supporting new immigrants and poor people. Positive? Anybody? Negative. Why?
I would say maybe because of but like also everybody should kind of work like earn their stuff.
Okay, so you're saying everybody should earn their things. and the stuff that they have. So I think kind of what we're getting at is like cost of school, cost of medical, stuff like that. So do you still say that they should all pay for their own?
Well, I didn't know that, it's like, people should have to like work for stuff, like college work initiatives, if like me and then everybody else doesn't really have money, like you just can't really pay for it.
Okay, so if we looked at this, where are the majority of immigrants? US, Canada, Mexico? No, where are they right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Here.
A lot in the United States. I know that we don't think about Canada too much, but you'd be surprised. You would also might be surprised that Mexico has a lot of immigrants from other countries in South America. So they also are dealing with immigrant issues, but obviously we don't hear about that here, right? But they do. Okay, the last one. Laws about air pollution apply to all three countries. Positive or negative? Positive? Why?
Because pollution could go anywhere. It doesn't like stop at a country.
Yeah, pollution can go anywhere. The wind, the water, they don't care about political borders. All right, are you ready for your next trick? I want you to look at all of those questions as if you were a delegate from Mexico. And then I want you to write, like you can do it over to the side. If you were from Mexico, would they be positive or negative? Do it quickly and then we'll talk about it, okay? Yes, if you're a delegate from Mexico, does that change your opinion?
Okay, so later. That's why I said later, didn't I?
Did you just make a song note?
Yeah, I ain't letting it go away.
Okay. So, if you were a delegate from Mexico, did you change any of those?
Yes.
Which ones?
2, 3, 5. 2, 3, 5. There went all pro.
Because it would benefit Mexico, right?
Yes.
So they would obviously feel different about it and probably be more for it. Okay, so now that we kind of have an idea, these are the things that countries have to look at before they join a supranationalist organization. Can you go over to this side, please, for me, where it talks about the background? And with your pencil, highlighter, whatever you have, as I read it to you, I want you to mark up some of the key things that you think are going to help you. What's our question that we're going to be answering?
Does the benefit of membership outweigh the cost?
Or do the benefits outweigh the costs, right? Yeah. So while we're going through, I want you to think about it while I read it. You ready? All right. In 1945, Europe staggered out of World War II. Cities had been bombed, farms had been burned. An estimated 40 million Europeans had died. People wanted to rebuild their lives, but they were afraid. With no official peace treaty and ruined economies, more war was possible. To make matters more urgent, communism loomed as a threat in the East. The Soviet Union was snapping up Eastern European countries to form the Soviet bloc. Western Europe needed a way to ensure peace and to create a strong democratic presence to combat the spread of communism. Is there anything in there that you think might be important to answer that question?
Combat the spread of communism.
The fear of communism, right? What about the fact that there wasn't a peace treaty?
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, if there's not a peace treaty, what's a really great way to make sure we don't have another world war? a peace treaty, but if we're reliant on each other economically, am I going to do bad things to you if I need you as a trade partner? No. So a lot of the politicians at the time, this is some of what they were thinking. All right, the second paragraph. In response, Western European countries participated in the creation of several supernatural organizations. In 1945, 14 European nations joined with 37 other countries to form the United Nations. In 1949, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization linked Europe with the United States and Canada in a military alliance. In 1957, the European Economic Community combined its member economies into a common market. Although some worried that merging policies on agriculture and trade could threaten their national sovereignty, most countries thought a common market was worth the risk. Building economic partnerships around heavy industry could promote peace as well as increase wealth, jobs, and weapons to fight the Soviets if necessary. So you have several bolded words in there that are vocab. You've got supranational organization, and you have a common market. A common market is what we just were talking about. If everybody's reliant on each other economically, you're less likely to cause damage to the country you rely on, right? That's like, you don't want to make mom and dad too mad because what do?
It will be over.
Possibly, but economically, what do? Do they take away your phone?
Yeah.
Do they not give you an allowance if you don't do your chores? I don't know if you guys have that, but
That's great.
yeah, right? The biggest way to hurt you is to take away your money and your way to communicate. All right, voices off. What does sovereignty mean?
Being able to like self-govern.
Like the government's like
Marco,
Hold up.
I need everybody paying attention. Remember, we're trying to set you up for success, okay? What does sovereignty mean?
Self-govern.
people rule government.
Popular sovereignty is power from the people, literally. So sovereignty, right out beside that, sovereignty means power. So out here by sovereignty, I want you to draw an arrow and write power. All right, the next paragraph. Over the next 50 years, other countries joined the EEC, and in 1993, after the communists lost control of the Soviet Union, the EEC was officially renamed the European Union. Today, the EU is made up of 28 nations. Economic cooperation has extended beyond heavy industry to consumer goods, and there is a common currency called the euro. New countries can join if they meet a set of standards called the Copenhagen criteria, which require each country to have a stable democracy, a strong economy, and protection for minorities. So what was the very first thing that was listed for the criteria to belong to the EU?
Democracy.
Stable democracy and a stable economy, or a strong economy. There have been countries that have been rejected on the protection, though, of minorities, violation of human rights. Sometimes it takes a long time for countries to meet these standards. Greece sat in the waiting room for 6 years before joining in 1981, but that's nothing compared to Turkey, which is still waiting after more than 25 years. Conflicts between political leaders can slow down new members too. France voted to exclude the United Kingdom twice before the British were allowed to join. Once countries become members, they keep their own national laws, but also have to follow EU laws. EU laws are created by 3 main groups of representatives. Within these groups, leaders from small countries like Croatia work with leaders from big countries like Germany to write laws that work for everyone. Each of the 3 legislative bodies has a president, but there is no president of the EU as a whole. The Court of Justice upholds the rule of European law, but there is no EU military or police force to make sure the court's rulings are followed. In that paragraph, starting at once countries become members, what are some of the key things in there that can help us?
You have to follow EU laws.
They have to follow the EU laws.
And their own law.
There's 3 main groups of representatives.
There's 3 main groups. Who makes, what do those groups look like? Who are they made up of?
Small countries, big countries.
So it's forcing the big countries and the small countries to work together, right? That will benefit everybody. Now, is that gonna require some compromise? Just like our House of Representatives and Senate, we had the 3/5 compromise, right, based on population. In a way, the EU is a big balancing act. Even though many Europeans see membership in the EU as essential for protection and economic well-being, following both national and EU laws can get complicated. Several countries are waiting to join the EU right now, while others are deciding whether to leave. This mini DBQ contains 6 documents that address issues of EU membership. Using the documents, your task is to weigh the pros and cons of belonging to the European Union and then to answer the question, do the benefits of the EU membership outweigh the costs? All right, flip the page for me. All right, supranational, come down here to the vocab terms, please. The supranational organizations, jot a little bit down, is where countries join together for a common purpose, just so you have a reference to go back to. Supranational organizations, countries join together for a common purpose. Common market, does anybody remember what it was?
They share economies, like share.
Yeah, the shared, so when we talk about like a market, that's a place that you sell or trade goods. So the common market would be that you can sell and trade within all of the countries. What is sovereignty?
Power.
Power. Heavy industry, that's our like big manufacturing. That's turning or using coal, using different metals to make machinery and things like that. What are consumer goods? You guys are all consumers.
Things people buy on a daily basis.
Yeah, it's just the stuff we buy. Right? Like I don't go out and buy a printing press. That's not really a consumer good. And then last one is legislative bodies. Those are the people who make the laws for everybody to follow. All right, you can write these down, you don't have to. But look at the questions above the vocab we just did. What big problems did Europe face after World War II?
The spread of communism.
They were worried about the spread of communism, and remember, communism has a command economy. In the command economy, who controls the decision making? The government, right? Which means, I joke about this all the time, but when the USSR broke up, they had toilet paper, but they didn't have food. Because toilet paper is what the government had them making, but they were going hungry. The command economy can't ebb and flow like we do with what we need. So you had fear of communism. Also, were the countries doing well in population? No, because like, what was it, 40 million people? 40 million people died, and typically that's going to be your workforce, right? Because it's not going to be the older people that are fighting in the war. It's going to be the younger people. And they were facing economic hardships. So like in World War II, Germany, coming out of World War I, already owed a bunch of money, and they were doing poorly. And then after World War II, they also owed more money. So they were really, really struggling to get their economy going. So that leads us to number 2. Why were they eager to create supranational organizations? Why did they join together? What did they need? They needed protection and they needed peace. And the best way to go about that is to have allies, military and economic, right? Number 3, what are the 3 things you have to become a member of the EU?
Strong democracy, a strong economy, and protection of minorities.
Yeah, so you basically need a strong democracy, a strong economy, and not be violating human rights. Who makes EU law?
All the legislators.
Yeah, the 3 legislative bodies from all of the countries, right? They all work together to do it. And the trick question, how are the EU laws enforced?
They're not.
Yeah, each country has to make sure that they follow the laws. There's a court that can hear cases about if a country violates EU laws, but other than that, there's not like a police force or military to enforce them. Okay, now everybody needs to give their attention to Miss Bragg. Miss Rose, can you unshare so she can share? Thank you. She's going to show you how to pull text evidence. When she's done showing you how to pull text evidence, I will go over one document with you on how you pull text evidence, and then you're going to do the rest of the documents. Understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, awesome. Everybody pay attention to Miss Bragg. Did it stay up there? Yeah. Mine goes away when I shut it. Is it still there? Sorry, her screen is weird.
And this laptop is,
There we go.
Before we start, I want you to open up to a blank document on your iPad. We're gonna do just a little quick write, really quickly.
So everybody go into Google Docs, please.
What's
Open
the
the first
first
doc.
number?
1912.
Okay. We are gonna do a 3-minute quick write, okay? I want you to pretend that I am an alien from outer space. I am hungry, and it is your job to teach me how to eat a drumstick. I've never seen it before. I've never encountered it before. You know how to eat a drumstick, but I want you to teach me, the alien, how to do it, okay? You've got 3 minutes on the clock, and I want you to explain it in detail. Go.
Hey, I'm creating a Canvas spot for you to turn these in, so everybody needs to be doing it, please, and thank you.
How do I eat a drumstick? If I'm an alien, how do I eat a drumstick? You do? Correct. So we need to open up a blank document.
you can unplug it, it's cordless, so you unplug it.
jumping right in. Some of you are greeting the alien, which I think is a nice touch. Being a hospitable human on our planet. Well, even with take that in your
Do we provide any? If not
Okay, 30 more seconds. 30 more seconds.
Ew.
Okay, finish up the sentence that you're on. I want you to stand up and I want you to go find somebody at another table, not at the table you're at, another table, and share your response with them.
I put rabbit leg with a chicken.
You can do it. I have faith in you. You got this. Golden brown part.
A drumstick is
Figure that little feeding part. Grab a period part with your fingers, then bite into it on the big juicy
When you're
part.
done, Shannon, go back to your seat, please.
I don't want to hear that. How do you eat a drumstick like that, bro?
Okay. Do not give me the entire process, but tell me some key things. What is one key thing that it would be really important for that alien to know? Yes, sir.
hold the drumstick at my bottom.
Okay, you gotta hold the drumstick by the bottom. That's a good one. Okay.
Hold on. I'm the alien. Which side's the bottom?
Skinny part.
Ooh,
The skinny
good
part.
point.
Skinny
Good
part,
point. You
right?
gotta have that orientation of what, yeah, the thinner part. Okay.
Not to
Yes, sir.
not to bite through the middle because there's a bone in the middle.
Right, not to bite through the middle because there's a bone in the middle, and what might happen? You chip your alien teeth. Okay. You could also what? Choke. Absolutely. Anything else that you would deem pretty important regarding eating a drumstick? Okay, I think y'all landed on the most important thing, and it is that I want to make sure that I get the meat off the bone, right? Like that's super important. And then if I go too far, right, I could injure myself, right? It's not productive. And so there are two reasons why I like this warm-up when we're introducing embedding, because I think that explaining to an alien how to eat a drumstick is a lot like embedding evidence, okay, for two reasons. One, just like when eating a drumstick, you want to get the meat off the bone. Do not include everything in the document, only what serves your purpose, okay? So we are going to go in with really intense precision, pull out what we need, and leave everything else behind, okay? Just like how you can't hand an alien a drumstick and expect that being to know how to eat it, you can't just put evidence into a text without explaining how it proves your position. You might feel like your evidence alone proves your point, but you have to explain in detail. Okay? If the alien tells me that he is hungry, or she, or it, tells me that it is hungry, and I give it a drumstick, I cannot assume that that alien knows what to do with what I have given it, just like you cannot assume that your reader knows what to do with the evidence that you have provided. It might seem pretty obvious to you, but your job is to explain it, okay? So, there's different types of evidence you're going to be looking for, okay? You've combed through that document a little bit. You're going to have textual evidence from those various pieces. You're also going to have visual evidence in the form of charts and maps and images. You're going to have statistical evidence, numbers, data, percentages. This is an English teacher's kryptonite. You're going to have historical geographic context. Connecting document to larger knowledge. So these are all valid forms of evidence that you could use. So when we're talking about pulling the meat off the bone, y'all's position, and you've already explained that to them, their position on what they will be doing.
We've talked about the question, not their claim yet.
Okay, can I tell them what their claim is going to be? Yes. Your claim is going to be that you believe being a part of the European Union is beneficial. Okay? That is going to be your claim. And so, when I'm pulling evidence to support that claim, I pulled a piece that supports that claim. Okay? There's a lot of other evidence in there that you're going to go find. But if you look at this top one, it says, according to document C, part of what makes Poland such a good place to invest today is the depth of the bond it has forged with Europe's leading economy. And then the parentheses, they're talking about the leading economy being Germany, okay? So there is technically nothing wrong with this, except for I've provided a lot more stuff that I don't need, okay? So instead of grabbing this entire quote, what I'm going to do is just pull the meat off the bone, okay? I'm going to go in and I'm going to, with precision, find the piece that is really important to me, and that is what I'm going to use, and then I'm going to spend most of my time after this explaining why this is significant, okay? So I chose to just pull the part of the quote that says, of the bond it has forged with Europe's leading economy, Germany. Okay, so I have a decent approach and I have a better approach. Then you've got to make sure you know how to do what is called a source attribution. Okay, there's multiple ways that you can do this. You can lead into your quote or your piece of evidence by providing the source. So you can say, according to document C. But I do not want to be a one-trick pony. Okay, raise your hand if you're in English right now. In English right now. What happens if in an essay you use the same word over and over and over, Christian? What happens if you use the same word over and over and over in an essay? What's your teacher gonna say?
No, it's not.
She's going to say, change it. She's going to say it's repetitive. She's going to be bored, right? And so we want to have various approaches to how we source our material, okay? You can also put your source at the end. So Poland is a good place to invest because of the bond it has forged with Europe's leading economy, Germany. I can put document C, okay? And y'all really luck out being in world geography because the way you get to source in a DBQ, you're just given the source letter, and it's so easy to do, where in English, we have so many variations, okay? So you're just gonna make sure you're looking, wherever you're getting your information, you're pulling it from whatever letter is attributed to that source. Additionally, you can do a source attribution by describing the document itself. So additionally, the Nobel Prize press release highlights a benefit of participating in the EU, asserting that historical enemies can become close partners. Okay, so I have multiple ways that I can do this so that I do not get boring and repetitive to the person reading my piece. Then we have commentary. This is where you're explaining to the alien how to eat the drumstick. You think that it is common sense, common knowledge, but that is not the way that you have to treat evidence. You have to treat evidence as though the person reading your piece does not know how to interpret what you have just provided them, okay? So if I have this piece of evidence that according to document C, Poland is a good place to invest because of the bond it has forged with Europe's leading economy, Germany, I have to then go in and explain in detail why this is a good piece of evidence to support my claim that it is beneficial to be part of the EU, right? Do you see how most of this paragraph, I would say 75 to 80% of it is commentary and only a little bit of it is evidence, okay? Evidence is important. What you say about the evidence is more important, okay? If you can't say anything about it, you're really going to have problems scoring high, okay? So being a part of the EU strengthens a country's economic ties with powerful neighbors, which attracts investment and growth. Poland's bond with Germany, one of Europe's strongest economies, shows how membership creates trust and stability for businesses. Investors see EU membership as a sign of reliability, making countries like Poland more appealing places to do business. This demonstrates that joining the EU can directly boost economic opportunities and development. Okay, so explaining the function of that evidence is so important. Okay, we're gonna do an exit ticket and you're gonna do it on the same place that you did that warm up, and then Miss Jennings is gonna collect it from you here in just a little bit, okay?
You'll submit it on Canvas.
I know that one of my students is not groaning about an exit ticket, Christian Perez. Okay, what I want you to do, okay, what I want you to do is choose a piece of textual evidence that supports participation in the EU, add a source attribution, and commentary. Okay, I'll go back to that slide in just a second, but we're doing 3 things. Okay, you are choosing one of these pieces of evidence. 2 of them do not support participation in the EU. Only one of them does. Okay, I want you to write it down. Let's do that first. Okay, so look at your various options. The leaders of Poland, Czechoslovakia, and Hungary met in Vizgard. Document E, the Visegrad countries don't want to leave the Union, they just refuse to abide by some of its rules. And then document D, the Union and its forerunners have, for 6 decades, contributed to the advancement of peace and reconciliation, democracy, and human rights in Europe. Write down which of these 3 you feel supports being a part of the EU. Do that right now.
The same thing that we wrote the drum signal.
When the Wi-Fi's on.
need to be doing this, I'm including it as part of your grade.
It's this one, then I want you to go ahead and write down that quote.
We just write which one we think it is.
Yep, just write down which one you think it is. But you're gonna wanna type out the whole quote, because you're about to have to show me how you could embed it and provide commentary. Okay? Okay, if you've already got your quote written down so that I can leave it up there for people who want it, remember that to do a source attribution, right, you can start it with according to document, whatever the document is, okay, and then you can put in your quote. Okay, you can put in your quote, and then you can put where the quote came from. Okay, and then you can also say in the, and then you describe the document. And then you can put in your quote. So you've got options. So if you've already got your quote written down, then you go ahead and do a source attribution. Okay, go ahead and tell me where that's coming from. I gave you the documents on there. So all you've got to do is figure out how you want to introduce your quote. Once you've got that step done, this is the explaining part, right? Below it, how does the quote you chose reveal why anyone would want to join the EU? What benefit are you highlighting from the quote you chose? I was telling you were good. I wasn't asking that. So you are good. So with this, do you want to say according to document name? Do you want to say, do you want to put document name end? Right? You can't just have it and then have the quote, right? It's gotta all be embedded together. So the source attribution needs to be at the beginning of the quote. We want this to look like one full paragraph. So according to document, so next quote, finish that out, and right after that quote ends is where you got your analysis. Okay, can you make that look like one paragraph for me? Beautiful. Who feels like they're kind of struggling and wants a little help? Yeah, I'm ideally the opposite.
Not everyone knows.
No, you're choosing from those.
Me and Mercy are so right.
And then after you put it in there, okay, after you put that quote in there, So how did that quote make me want to be a part of the queue?
And then you need to explain to me why would this, what you proposed, why would I give it, why would I give it to you based on what you said? Now, so I think why does the fact that it's promoting peace, reconciliation, democracy, and human rights, why would that help? That's the complicated part. Why would I want to participate in that?
Is there anything that you, for those of you who chose this quote, is there anything that you would cut out? That you think, the quote's a little long,
6 decades.
I could take out the 6 decades, right? It's nice information, it's not super important, right? I could even say, and its forerunners, okay? And I could say, these union, ... letting my reader know I took something out, contributed to the advancement of peace and reconciliation, democracy, and human rights in Europe, right? And I could consolidate it just a little bit, okay? It's an option that you have.
Do we need to submit this before we leave?
Miss Jennings, how do you want them to submit it?
It's on Canvas. It's literally DBQ warm-up, exit.
Oh, did you do it on the same document?
Yeah, no, just submit it. I told them.
And do we
Really
need
love
to
this stuff. I hope you have it done right now.
Yeah.
It's her exit ticket, and then you're gonna finish up with me and then you're yours. She just wanted to make sure that you guys had it before she walked out there. Yes, I would prefer that, but when you turn